Hey everyone, today we are going to learn how to use Nmap, better known as network mapper, to map a network basically. To increase the size of your terminal window, just do Control Shift plus plus. Let's understand why do we even need to map a network. So when we targeting a website, we need to know what are components in their network. Are there any IoT devices connected, or what services are running on it? What versions of services are running on it? Are there running HTTP? Are they running FTP, file transfer protocol? Are they running some SSH, secure shell, or there are like a lot of protocols they'll be running, or maybe the version they're running is outdated and we can maybe attack that version. All right, so let's get right into it. We write nmap and sv. First of all, you need to install nmap on Ubuntu. Just do sudo apt install nmap and you're good to go. Just type in your password for sudo and you're good to go. All right, now what do we do now? Nmap. These are the switches I'm working with. Like when you write this means a switch. You can search for other switches with this help switch, and you can see what are the different switches you can use with it. Minimum rate or maybe script SC, SV. You can see that all later. Right now, let us understand how to do basic network mapping. Nmap SV, this will tell us version of the services running. All right, and this P flag search for all the ports. So basically, there are ports ranging from 0 to 65,535. It will scan for all the TCP ports. All right, and then we use this A switch. A means aggressive mode. We are telling Nmap go all the way in and give us all the information you can. All right, and there's this thing we can use, min rate. I'm gonna set it to 5,000. Basically, we are telling Nmap to send 5,000 packets per second. What this do is this basically increases the speed of our scan. All right. And if we want our output in a particular output file, we can use the switch on, and our file's name, I'm gonna do it result2.txt. Also, you can save your uh, output in .xml as well, and there are like some other formats. You can check that with nmap slash nmap switch h. Okay, that I showed you about. All right, so now we are putting our IP. Okay, in this case, I don't have IP of that website. I have website's name, so I'm gonna put that website's name, testphp.vulnweb.com. This website is vulnerable, that's why we are targeting it. We're good to go. All right, so in Nmap it shows results as open ports, closed ports, and filter ports. What are these terms means? Open port means an application is actively accepting TCP connections or UDP datagrams. What that even mean? It means that, let us understand it with this image right here. All right, so this is the PC with this particular IP, and this is the server listening on port 80 and listening on port 445. In this case, open ports are port 80 and port 445. Server is listening on it. So if we request on this PC left hand, if we request a website, we will get response to that website because this port is listening to port 80, that is HTTP services. All right, this means an open port. 80 port is open, 445 which is an SMB server message block, that is also open. We want to connect to that. Now, what are closed ports? Closed ports are, in this case, in this image, closed ports are port 21, port 22, because this server is not listening on those ports. Those ports are closed. Now, what are filtered ports? Filtered ports are basically, Nmap cannot determine whether they are open or closed. This happens because of pack because packet filtering prevents Nmap packets reaching that particular port. This might happen because of firewall or router rules. Okay, we still haven't got our results. Let's wait a bit. Nmap SVPA 5000 over result2.txt. Hmm. All right, it took some time, and here we go. We have our output. We see port 80 is open, state is open, and it's a TCP type of service. All right, TCP means basically transmission control protocol, very common protocol type. So we have a web services running on this port 80, and we can also see some Amazon AWS. And here we don't see a version. Let me do that scan again, because we need to get version, because version gives us many possibilities, because if the version is outdated, we have a good chance of penetrating into that particular network or that website, because outdated versions have vulnerability in them. That's why people force you or tell you to pay attention on what version of services are you running. That really matters a lot. If you get a vulnerable version, you can just go on to Google and search that this particular version exploits, and then you get a whole lot list of vulnerabilities, exploits. You can go ahead and do a lot of things. It's taking some time. Let's wait for it. All right. Sometimes Nmap shows us the version of services running on it, and sometimes it doesn't. What we can do is, there's this extension. It is available on Chrome and Firefox as well. It's Vaporizer extension. You can add this extension, and I've added it already. And this is the website we're working with, testphp.vulnweb.com. All right. So here we can see what version of services running on it. Like this, the editor is this, operating system is this, web server version is nginx 1.19.0. Now, to know if this version of this web server is vulnerable or not, what we can do is just a simple search nginx 1.19.0 HTTP exploits, and we can see a whole list here, vulnerabilities of this particular version of a server. So Vaporizer gives you a lot of information. It's a great extension to install. It tells you what programming languages are used. It's a great extension. So congratulations, we have mapped network successfully. Thank you for listening.